DM comes off the line, 1100 horsepower, full performance. Roush Yates V8 screams as he kicks that car to angle and across the track. Little dab of the handbrake. Back on it he goes as Deane locks up the foot brake, flicks that car across the track. Little tickle of the curb on the rear wheel. Now looks for the extremities of the circuit here in Latvia as he fires it on angle. Look at that full throttle, lets the car slow down on angle. Little dab of the handbrake once again as Deane gets into this outside zone. Bumper towards the wall as James Deane kicks the clutch, lets that V8 scream and jog down across the line.
Yeah, I mean, top qualifier here last year is really showing things off. So much commitment in it. Very different vehicle.
Yeah,
what he's
looking to top
from.
that qualifying. Knows what he can do around here in Riga, in Latvia. First time driving the Mustang here on Latvian soil as he flicks that car across the circuit. Much nicer initiation this time from James Deane. He puts both rear wheels of that Mustang into that zone, and that's a fast transition as he comes down. A little adjustment on the steering wheel, but gets it dialed in into the zone now. Big flick across the track, looks for the outside zone. It's a much cleaner from James Deane this time. Into that outside zone, perfectly timed as Deane sets the back end along the wall on the throttle as he absolutely hammers the tail right towards the wall.
It's like watching magic, man. It is truly amazing that we all get to sit and kind of live through the background, smoke coming through.
Yeah, beautiful. Sun setting here in Latvia as they get on the way. Green light ready to go, and this is a glimpse into more of action as they come off the line. It's going to be Juha Rittinen to lead in James Deane. A nice flick across the circuit. Post still wandering away with there for Deane as he lets Juha Rittinen set himself up. Oh, a big transition as Deane tucks himself up on the inside, pops that Mustang onto the curb, go for the transition back as Rittinen fires on angle. Deane struggles to slow it down. Rittinen on a scrappy line there though on that transition as now Deane finds the pocket, puts the front wheel towards the door of that GR86 and across the line.
I'm wondering if the track is gripped up a little bit, if it's tacking up a little bit, because Juha was pretty bitey throughout this entire thing.
Yeah, and I mean, look,
we said there was going to be.
There we go, Deane to lead out Rittinen. We're spotting the final of the qualifying showdown. Through the gears they go. Look at this, Rittinen just taking a look over at James Deane. Who's going to initiate first and where are they going to do it? That's what it's all about, feeling each other out. Look at this, Rittinen on the inside, couldn't find the outside line as Deane now looks comfortable. Fires that car right where it needs to be, looks for the edge of the circuit, dabs the foot brake. Rittinen now in tow, finds himself through the smoke, goes down, has to make a quick change there. An error from Rittinen in the change position now, comfortable, finds himself on the door of that Mustang as they get into that last outside zone and across the line.
Yeah, it took Juha a little bit to really find his place on this run, whereas James, he was
now this is in play.
See what happens.
Could be a game changer for tomorrow. Here we go, off the line, James Deane to lead out. Connor Shanahan door to door with Deane already as they go for the flick, bumper to bumper on initiation. Deane into the outside zone, perfectly timed as Shanahan falls into formation, goes for the transition back now, looks for the front wheel of that Mustang RTR. They fire in front of the grandstands. Whoa, wow, what a transition from Shanahan as he tucks up back into formation again. This is unbelievable from Shanahan as he tucks himself onto the door of that Ford Mustang, onto the wall he goes and across the line.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be fun. I knew it was going to be exciting. Those transitions are just absolutely legendary. We call him the Shadow Shanahan because he is just behind.
Well, here we go, back on the line. Connor Shanahan to lead out James Deane, and they get the green light ready to go through the start line down to initiation. Connor Shanahan flicks that car from left to right. Deane in tow. Look at that little dab of the handbrake. Deane needs to set himself up closely on the door and he waits for that transition. Pops through the smoke because Shanahan leads them through down in front of the grandstand. Big transition coming up as Deane fires through the smoke into this outside zone. One more transition to go. Bumper to bumper once again. Favour repaid as Deane's closer than Shanahan. Onto that front wheel he goes as he pushes Shanahan across the line.
Good luck, judges.
Head nodding, ready to go. As Juha absolutely focused, little thumbs up to the camera, stares down the circuit, slams that car into gear. He presses the button to get the anti-lag pop in as 2JZ sings underneath the bonnet of that BMW. The V8 rumbles from that Mustang RTI Spec 5 DM, and it's all over and in the zone as James Deane fires down. Look at that from Juha though, now starts to gain that lost little bit of ground on run-up as he loses more ground now through the centre of the circuit. Deane on that nice wide line as he puts foot to floor, transitions back, looks for the outside zone. Perfect line from James Deane. Juha gets into the zone, finds the side of that Mustang and now starts to apply the pressure.
That car is so fast. I cannot.
The second half of the barrel, it's going to be Juha to lead out James Deane. As Juha gets the green light, comes off, breaks that laser beam, fires through the gears as James Deane keeps in tow. Doesn't want to let Juha get away as Rubber fires off the circuit and fires into that first outside zone. Nice pull from Juha as he now flicks it back, but there's no shaking James Deane as Deane goes for the front wheel. Beautiful chase so far from the Irishman as Juha Poitolaxo fires into that outside zone, looks for the transition. Deane is with him though. Now Deane loses some ground, tries to get back into the pocket, starts to drive away. Does Juha as Deane fires it on the door across the line.
Yeah, Juha Poitolaxo did what he needed to do on that swap of the lead. Didn't freak out, didn't panic. Still put down a solid lead run and hope that there was some sort of error force between James Deane.
Not too much to say from Kvia as he gets ready to go. Bangs that car into gear. That V8 Turbo 180 SX comes off the line. James Deane piloting that Mustang. RTR Spec 5D as he hammers through the gears. Big flick to angle. And look at this from Kvia, straight onto the front wheel, no messing around. He knows he can trust James Deane as Deane puts down a heater of a lead line so far on the foot brake, but that doesn't shake Kvia. Kvia is with him as they fire through those outside zones. Kvia pops through the smoke, looking for the side of that blue Mustang. Once again, Kvia into the zone, but Deane is absolutely pinpoint perfect in that outside zone. Kvia now trusts Deane on the door.
We were not disappointed with that battle at all. That's something, as soon as this pairing came up, you and I were chatting about, we were looking forward to it because we knew this would be a complete heads-up battle. This is all throttle. These are two drivers.
Kvia slams that car into gear and ready to leave as soon as he gets that green light. And here we go, Kvia to lead out James Deane through the gears down, looking for a nice clean run. James Deane going to have to apply the pressure to Tandem Kvia. A nice initiation from Kvia. Deane leaves it late and he's lost some ground already, and now starts to gain it back in as Kvia fires that 180 SX across the track. Deane with him though, looks for the outside zone and pops through the smoke on the transition as Kvia fires it wide and keeps a hold of it. Big handbrake drag though for Kvia as he looks for this outside zone. He's going to open the door and Deane's going to take a step in as he applies the pressure onto the front wheel across the line.
Yeah, this is going to be tight. I mean,
I do think a nice nod to our start line Marshall Martin as the light goes green. James Deane will leave that Ford V8 screams from underneath the bonnet of that Ford Mustang as they come through the gears and flicks it. Connor Falvey shuts it down, doesn't initiate, and problems with the car as Connor Falvey drives it out and James Deane absolutely fires through the circuit. Nice and wide, good line. And Connor Falvey just going to follow in, just try and keep out James's way as James gets into that final outside zone, stands on the accelerator, lets that V8 scream and puts it across the line.
Oh man, that is the complete opposite of what we were hoping for, but that is
now
the reality.
An older gentleman, a man that's grown into this sport, sits alongside James Deane with only one mindset, and that's to take him down and get into the final here at his home event. James Deane off the line in that Ford Mustang RTR, screams through the gears and flicks it left to right. It's V8 versus V8 on circuit. Ford versus BMW, and look at this from Bertans, aggressive on the transition through the smoke as they go wide, look for the transition back. Bertans almost taking both of them off circuit. He goes for another dive again. This is unbelievable from Nicolas Bertans as he dives on the door of the Mustang, pushes James Deane across the line. Wow. James Deane now going to repay the favour, try and put a tyre mark on the door of that BMW as they come off the line and through the gears. Bertans to lead out James Deane, tyres smoking from the get-go. And look at that from Deane, down on the initiation already, but Bertans in and out of that first zone. But look at this from James Deane, no messing around, gives Bertans the room to manoeuvre as he punches through the smoke once again. Bertans now fires to the outside zone. Deane almost takes the back end off the BMW, but James Deane looks for the door, looks for the logo. Can he give it a hit? He can, and Bertans puts the bumper on the wall.
Holy, I mean,
for it. The nitrous purges, he's ready for action. He slams the car into gear. We get the green light. This is it, the final of Drift Masters 2025 at Riga. It's time for action. They fire through the gears, and look at this, on the bumper goes James Deane. A nice initiation from Deane as they go wheel to wheel across the circuit. No messing around. Deane down on the inside as Vicek leads him very, very wide up the curve. As you can hear the V8 scream alongside the two JZ. They fire back once again. A small check up there from Deane as they get into this final outside zone. Vicek on the walk. Deane goes for the door across the line.
This is what it looks like when two legends of the sport give everything and lay it all out on track.
He walks out of view, and we are ready to go for the final run of round 5 through the gears down as Vicek now hunts down the Mustang. Deane, early initiation, flicks it right to the edge of the circuit. They're side by side as they come through that first outside zone. Deane almost pushing everything to the limit, but look at Vicek. He's almost touching the whole way round. He punches through the smoke as they go wide. They transition back, and Vicek's with him. He's on the front wheel. Vicek is a man possessed. He cannot be shaken as they back wheels across the